Hey everybody, welcome back to another YouTube channel from me. This time it's going to be a little bit different. It's not a review video, it's not a vlog or unboxing or anything like that, but I wanted to share a message. Over recent months, this group that I've noticed growing in popularity it is sending messages that I and other people don't feel is good messages. The group is Connections. Connections is labeled to be a personal, coaching, therapy and counseling, that sort of thing, and they give advice to parents, to specifically moms. And it's ran by Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke. Now, Ruby is the mom of 8 passengers. She doesn't upload or film any vlogs anymore, but she was who ran the 8 Passengers YouTube channel and various social media accounts. But now, and I know she kind of went back to school to get like a certification or whatever you need to get to be a certified counselor or a therapist or whatever. So apparently this is what she was aiming for, is joining this group. And Jody Hildebrandt has been, gone against her contract with people who have paid for her services. Different things like that. She's, not really a good person, and Ruby really aren't either. Of course, they're uber religious, which I'm gonna come out and say it's not a bad thing to be religious. To have something to believe in is a wonderful thing, but to use that to shower hate and shame onto people is not what religion is all about, not what Christianity is all about. And to do that, it just makes you a bad person and a very hateful person. But Ruby and Jody have posted numerous videos talking on the basis of sexuality and people asking questions on their children coming out as gay or transgender or non-binary, and Ruby and Jody saying along the lines of that's distortion and they don't know what they're talking about, and basically suggesting that the parents punish the kids in one way or another based on their coming out of a certain sexual orientation, which is not good. And it would be very damaging to the child growing up in that environment. And of course, there's been reports on the oldest daughter of Ruby, Sherry Franke, coming out against the group Connections, and that it has been tearing their family apart, and that she apparently doesn't have any contact with Ruby and maybe Kevin too, for the time being, until this hopefully is all sorted out. But Ruby is being seen as a very negative person, and I've noticed a trend with her and Jody now for a long time, and it's just not good. It's not good, and of course I'm not a parent, so I can't speak on that in that aspect. But you shouldn't use your platform to hate or shame people based on them not maybe sharing the same beliefs that you do. You should share kindness and say that, and kind of respect a person's sexual orientation. If you don't believe that sort of thing, that's on you, but you shouldn't shame other people. You know, it's not hurting you any for someone else's child to be gay or pansexual, transgender, non-binary. It doesn't hurt you at all. But yeah, Ruby and Jody have been using this platform to shame kids, and I feel like in the future there's going to be this uproar of children having nothing to do with their parents based on the advice they've been giving from this very mediocre, hateful group called Connections. And I don't want that. I mean, no kid should have to go through that. So that's why I'm making this video today, to kind of shed a light of what Connections is all about. And of course, I'm going to share videos that I have found on this page to kind of show you a little bit of what I'm talking about.
I am sure you're here because you have a desire to heal, a desire to have joy in your life and connection in your relationships. I have that same desire, not only for myself, but also for you. And so I'm very aware that many people are coming and they feel like they can't figure out how to have those things: joy, connection, clarity. And the truth is that you can. Those of you who have been given a diagnosis, I want to tell you that your diagnosis is not who you are. It's not you. The truth is that you can change. You just need education. You need the correct education. You need to understand about the power of your agency and what your agency / your choice has the power to do. And that's where the Empowering Joy class comes in.
I know that I am not the only mom who has spent much of her time looking for a program or a class or some kind of curriculum that I could share with my child, where my child would easily understand and learn about their value and their potential, and to inspire them. What I have found is Empowering Joy, and it is now a family favorite. The tradition is every Saturday we get up and we listen to Empowering Joy as we make breakfast together. It really sets the stage for the rest of the weekend. The changes that have occurred in my home have been calming. Because of Empowering Joy, my entire family now has a common vocabulary of words that we use with each other, that we know exactly what the other person means when they say them. We can communicate. But I guarantee you, you will find principles of joy in this class. At the end of each week, as I prepare for a new Saturday class, I'll take the slides off of the fridge and put them in a book. This provides my family with a book of principles and easy to understand visuals. This is literally the book on raising children that you have been looking for. And it is a great way to learn as a family, for mom and dad, the children. Invite grandparents, your aunts and uncles to join, and then you have curriculum to discuss the rest of the week. I like to print out my slides and put them on the fridge, and then anytime the kids come home from school or come home from a play date or have an interaction that they're uncomfortable with, or maybe they're being disrespectful, I can go back to the visual and plug any experience into what we learned in the Saturday class. And the reason you can do that is because these are principles.
That's something that Ruby and Jody have been talking about a lot, in this group Connections, is principles and living in truth and not living in distortion. Now, ironic enough, Ruby has been seen to be really this controlling figure in 8 Passengers, and especially with her husband, Kevin. Now, I think their relationship might be on the rocks right now. I'm not too sure what's going on with them, but I've noticed Ruby has been living in distortion for a long time. Whether she's changed and isn't controlling anymore, I don't know. But it sure seems that way in these videos where she is trying to put her beliefs onto other people and teaching what it seems like is that there's only one good way and right way to raise a child, which is not true. Parenting can vary, from child to child and parent to parent. What works for your child might not work for everyone, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that your way is necessarily bad, and it doesn't mean that other people, aren't bad, are bad parents. It doesn't mean that, because there's more than one way to raise a child. And, but it just seems like they're putting it in a kind of a limited box where it's one size fits all. This is how you should raise your child, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but that just isn't true. The thing is about this Facebook group that they're talking about, there's no room for mistakes or opinions, and if you have a different opinion than them, they will call you out on it and possibly say it's distortion to have a different opinion, which is not, because that's how the human mind works. Is not everybody thinks the same, not everybody acts the same, and that's perfectly fine. It is. But if this connections group has taught me anything, is there's only one right way to raise a child. There's only one opinion that matters, and that's it. But that's simply not true, and they're teaching this nonsense to a lot of possibly naive parents who are struggling with raising their kids and want help, and that's just not right at all.
You're choosing optional pain, whether you know it or not. And most of you don't even know when you go into victim, you're choosing extra pain. And you'll see that presented in these memes that these mothers are deemed a Karen. Now, and they'll say it's an anonymous way to be humorous. Isn't that how you get through life, is through humor? And anyone who comes and objects and says, hey, this isn't appropriate, are deemed a Karen. Now, Karen is a new term for Jody.
I didn't know what that meant.
That's because she doesn't have bratty high school children who turn around and call their moms Karens when held accountable. But a Karen is a derogatory term used towards mothers who hold their kids accountable. And really, it's projecting you're controlling, you're obnoxious, you're ridiculous, you're a
rigid
joke, you're rigid.
Right.
And that's not true either. Karen is a derogatory term for mothers who hold their kids accountable? No, it's not. A Karen is someone who is entitled or feels entitled to almost anything. So if anything, any minor inconvenience, they flip out. They blow their top because things aren't going their way. For instance, a mom, it's usually a woman with a short haircut style. Could be a man too. But someone walks into a store and is looking to return an item, but they don't have a receipt. A lot of stores won't even process returns unless you have proof that you bought the item, within probably 7 days is usually how long it needs to be, or the max amount of days before you can't return an item anymore. So if you don't have proof of that, a lot of stores won't process a return. And a Karen might flip out, yell at the cashier as if it's their fault, and ask to speak to a manager. Another reason for that is, Karens often are seen as being racist. So maybe calling the cops because a new couple moved into the neighborhood, and they're black. They call the cops on them, and that is also a Karen antic. It's not a mom who holds their kids accountable. No, that would otherwise be a good mom. to not let your kids get away with anything under the sun. But a Karen is someone who basically feels entitled to anything. She'll like, I don't like my new neighbors moving into my neighborhood. Call the cops. I don't like the fact that you told me I can't make a return on an item, even though I don't have proof that I even purchased the item at the store. But they decide to make a scene anyways. That's a Karen. Or, maybe they don't tip their servers at a fancy restaurant. That's also deemed a Karen. It's not, again, a mom who holds their kids accountable. And that's one of the reasons why I hate this. I won't say hate, but I strongly dislike this group Connections, is they are sharing false information. A Karen has been around, people have been tossing the word Karen around for many years, to describe someone who feels entitled to anything and everything, and freak out under the minor case of inconvenience. And I just don't like the false information being shared on this group that could possibly affect the lives of many parents and many kids, and have disrupted the lives of the 8-passenger family as well. And I just don't like it, and I don't think it's a good group to be a part of. So please be aware of this group. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a link tree that's linked to my Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, different pages of mine that you can check out as well to see what I'm doing on all of my social media pages. And please, I'll see you next time for another YouTube video.
It is not kind. So if your name is Karen out there, I am so sorry.
So sorry. I mean, how silly that some human, probably was a teenager, that decided to mock and denigrate the title of a woman, a mother, who is doing her job and holding her kids accountable.
I'm not just on YouTube, but I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can see what I'm up to on a weekly and daily basis. Be sure to head over to my Instagram and TikTok account, where I post pretty regularly on both. Link is in the description down below.